The movie begins by showing Gash, who is sitting alone inside a room. Just by looking at it, you can tell that he's deeply afraid of something. Suddenly, Dewey arrives at the house. The moment Gash sees her, he says, "He's back again. He won't leave me." Hearing this, Dewey tries to calm down and says that it's impossible, because whatever happened 15 years ago can never happen again. At that moment, Gash shows the wound's body and says, "Do you have any explanation for this?" Then adds, "Look, he's staring at us and laughing." Dewey walks toward the door to check, but she doesn't see anything. Seeing Gash in such a disturbed state, Dewey decides to stay the night. After Gash falls asleep, Dewey receives a phone call and steps into the hallway while talking. As she walks, she notices some newspaper clippings placed on a table. They show pictures of Alfie and Nara, along with an article about the mysterious deaths of the Lesmana family. Just then, Dewey hears something and looks in that direction, and the scene cuts. By the time we see Gash again, it's already morning. He steps onto the balcony. He notices blood on the floor, dripping from above. He looks up and sees Dewey's mutilated body hanging there. It appears as if she was killed as part of a demonic ritual. After this, the movie introduces Alfie and Nara, the two main characters from the first film. They've moved on from the past and started a new life. One night, while sleeping, Alfie hears whispering voices and assumes it's just her imagination. But as soon as she turns off the table lamp, she suddenly feels like someone is lying right next to her. Then, a terrifying entity whispers into her ear, "Devil's Child." Terrified, she wakes up, only to see a group of strangers entering her room. They kidnap her and take her deep into the forest to an isolated house. After some time, when Alfie regains consciousness, she finds herself tied up. She asks about Nara, and just then, Janar enters the room. Alfie asks where she is. Janar first apologizes and then begins to explain that the house used to be an orphanage run by a couple who couldn't have children, so they started this place. Over time, all the children were adopted, except for 7 of them, who ended up growing up there. After the wife died, the man, Ayub, started behaving strangely. He began physically abusing the children, and if they disobeyed him, he would lock them in a dark room and starve them. To escape his cruelty, the 7 of them eventually burned Ayub alive. After telling the story, they give Alfie a new dress and leave. When Alfie changes and goes upstairs to her room, she starts looking around at everything inside. Suddenly, we see the presence of Ayub behind her. He attacks Alfie. Terrified, she runs out of the room and searches for Nara. Finally, she finds her and sees that Nara is safe with them. Nada is hiding on top of the wardrobe, but Christy spots her anyway and slowly tries to climb up. Just as she's about to reach her, Nada pushes the wardrobe over onto her and escapes. Right then, Alfie arrives at the scene and brutally beats Christy to death with a hammer. But before dying, Christy manages to say, "Killing me won't change anything. He's waiting for you." After that, they prepare to bury Christy's body. Meanwhile, Alfie notices that Geddes is holding the diary in one hand and cutting his own finger, which is already wrapped in cloth. Suspicion starts spreading among them, especially since 2 people are already dead. It feels like the ritual itself is fighting back against them. Because of this, Alfie decides she wants to leave with Nada, and Booty agrees. But when they go to leave, they discover that the car has been completely wrecked. Booty goes inside to ask about it, and Alfie suddenly sees the priestess sitting in the back seat where Nada was supposed to be. When she turns around again, no one is there. She tries to calm herself, thinking it's just her imagination, but then the priestess suddenly appears beside the car and startles her. In that moment, Alfie experiences a terrifying vision where the priestess attacks her. The next instant, she finds herself standing inside a room, facing her parents. "Mr. Lesmana tells her, it hasn't stopped following you. It wants your sacrifice." Hearing this, Alfie snaps back, saying everything started because of him and that he's responsible. Lesmana admits he tried everything to save everyone and end it, but he failed. Suddenly, Ayub grabs Alfie's hand from behind and her hand starts burning. The vision shatters and Alfie comes back to reality, only to notice a real burn mark on her hand. As things get worse, Booty calls everyone together. Since Martha knows everything about the book, Alfie asks for her help. That's when they realize Gadish is missing, so Leo goes to look for him. While discussing the book with Martha, Alfie notices another blood mark on the page where the chant is written. She immediately remembers seeing Gadish's bandaged thumb, making suspicious. To confirm her doubts, she asks Martha for some childhood photos, and in them, she sees Gadish sitting in Ayub's lap. Meanwhile, Leo reaches the room where Ayub used to perform black magic, and suddenly finds Gadish standing right behind him. In a split second, Gadish locks Leo inside the room and says, "Let's see how long you can survive." At the same time, after looking at the photos, Alfie finally realizes the truth. Gadish was suffering from Stockholm Syndrome. This mentally disturbed man starts falling in love with the very person who tortures him. In fact, this twisted condition develops in Gadish during the time Ayub subjects him to physical torture. That's why, while everyone else saw it as torture, Gadish actually enjoyed it. On the other side, in the room where Leo was locked up, Christie's dead body was lying there. Suddenly, her corpse comes back to life, attacks him, and shoves her hand into his mouth, tearing his jaw apart from the inside. Booty tries to contact Leo through the walkie-talkie, but instead hears Gadish saying, "Leo is with me now, and soon all of you will join me." After saying this, Gadish goes upstairs, lies down on a bed, and offers himself as a sacrifice to Ayub. In invisible force, Ayub begins to touch his body. Meanwhile, the others reach the staircase and see Gadish sitting there. The moment Booty sees, he asks, "Where is Leo?" Gadish laughs and replies, "Leo has gone where he was meant to go, to Ayub. And all of you are next." And this is where the main mystery of the story is revealed. Gadish had summoned Ayub's soul into this world using a spell from a black magic book. But that wasn't enough to keep him here. That's why his first victim was Dewey. Next target was Alfie. Ayub needed someone who was already connected to an even more terrifying evil entity. We saw Alfie's story in the first part. After learning all this, Booty tries to burn the book, but Gadish stops. However, tries to use the same power on Alfie, it doesn't work. Taking advantage of this, Alfie attempts to kill him, but Gadish manages to escape. Then Martha tries to stab Gadish, but he turns the knife around and stabs her in the stomach instead. After that, he locks Alfie and Martha inside a room and sets it on fire. Holding Alfie's hand, Martha makes her promise that she will use the book to stop Gadish and Ayub, and then she dies. With no other option left, Alfie starts chanting the spell written in the book. Suddenly, her hand catches fire and transforms into a demonic hand. Meanwhile, as Gadish goes to kill Nada, Alfie, inside the room, sees her parents sitting there, staring blankly at the TV, where Nada is desperately screaming for help. In the dark room, Alfie frantically tries to find her sister. As she tries to escape with Nada, someone blocks their path, Martha. They somehow manage to run from her and reach another area, but then Martha, wrapped in white cloth, slowly transforms into Ayub and attacks them. Suddenly, Gadish appears from the other side and throws it away. Looking at Alfie's hand, Gadish says, "You won't be able to use it the way you think. To use it, you need to know the real rules. And do you know the most important thing? You're the perfect sacrifice for Ayub." As soon as he finishes speaking, vomits blood into Alfie's mouth and thrusts his long tongue inside. Struggling to survive, Alfie attacks him with a knife, but Gadish throws her aside. Just then, Nada comes to save her, and Alfie tells her, "Wait for me in front of the stairs. I'm coming." Saying this, she attacks Gadish again, but it has no effect. Suddenly, something strange starts coming out of Gadish's mouth. Using the power she has gained, Alfie drives a sharp plate into his head. Seizing the moment, she sets the room on fire and tries to escape with Nada, but once again, Gadish blocks their path. This time, it looks completely different. To help them escape, Booty rams a vehicle into Gadish and throws aside. But then, the most horrifying moment happens. Gadish's stomach rips open, and Ayub emerges from inside. Ayub lunges at Booty with full force, but Alfie steps in front of him, and Ayub enters her body. Alfie warns Nada to stay away because she's no longer in control. To save her, she stabs herself in the chest and suddenly she sees a vision. She finds herself surrounded by darkness and white smoke, with a figure standing in the distance. As she slowly moves closer, she sees a terrifying demonic entity, the very demon Ayub used to worship. Its name is Malak. Alfie asks, "Where is Ayub now?" The demon stretches out its hand and says, "He's imprisoned with me now, and he has become a curse. And what do you think you are? You are an impure soul who refuses to accept her fate. I've had my eyes on you from the beginning, and that impure soul of yours belongs to me." Saying this, the demon pushes its long clawed finger into the wound in Alfie's chest, and suddenly she wakes up. Somehow, she has survived, as if saved by a mysterious power she cannot explain. With this, the story ends here. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Also subscribe to this channel for more stories like this.